Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Christmas Camcast, in which Kenneth and I will spoil, review, gush over not one, but two Christmas movies. First movie, Krampus.
Krampus!
Second movie, Rare Exports, A Christmas Story. Does Chris like both these movies? Does Ken like both these movies? Do we like one of them and not the other? Tune in to find out on this Geek Pants Camcast. So the first thing that I would like to talk to you about is Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Because I'm not gonna see. Well, I might see you on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
I might, but that'll be it for the contact. And now that I know that we're recording, this is my only ugly Christmas shirt, although it's not really ugly at all.
It's not ugly at all.
It's, I would say it's bitchin'.
I love how they throw the hat on Superman, yet Batman's like, fuck it, I'm not wearing anything.
Especially, and it bothers me because after reading Red Sun,
Yeah.
you totally could have had the bat ears through the fucking Christmas or the Santa Claus hat.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah. So I found this literally the other, I think last week or whatever, and just today I was like, oh yeah, I'll wear it.
I'm happy you did.
So am I.
I couldn't find mine, so once again I'm rocking the Kong sweater, which just celebrated its 15th anniversary.
Yeah, which is a a worthy sweater to wait. That's Skull Island Kong though. That's not King Kong.
No, this is Peter Jackson's Kong, but that's the name of the ride at Universal.
All right. Okay, Kenneth.
It's Peter Jackson's Kong. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Anyway, so like we said, or like I said in the opening, yes, Geek Pantsers, we are doing Krampus. Now, to be fair, there's now like a million Krampus movies out there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Krampus. I got to pronounce the R properly.
Yeah, you got to do it like the old lady there.
We're specifically talking about the one that was released November 30th, 2015 in LA, and then later December 4th, 2015 in the US, starring Adam Scott and Toni Collette. That's the one we're referencing, okay? Which is good because, like I was telling Kenneth, I looked at a list of the top, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's like this list of the top 15 best Krampus movies.
Yeah.
First one on the list, Rare Exports, and that's why I wanted to watch it and also cover it on a Camcast. The second one on the list was Krampus, the one we're talking about now. The rest of them were just, and they literally were saying, like in the reviews, they were like this one is the worst of this particular franchise. Then the sequel happens, and it's like, it's better, but I mean, the first one was so terrible that this one had to be better. There was like Lady Krampus or Krampus's mom on this list. Like it was so bad. And then like the designs of Krampus, like while they're all fairly similar, they were all just so gross. Like they're basically like Wendigos with horns and stuff. I was like, I can't get behind this. I've
watched a few. And a lot of time they're garbage. These two are hands down the best of the bunch.
These two, yes, hands down, are the best.
Yeah.
Are the absolute best. But before we go any further, I got to do my thing to make it seem like I actually work these Camcasts to keep up with this guy who does pretty much everything else. So, I mentioned the release dates. It was written by Todd Casey, Michael Dougherty, and Zach Shields. It was directed by Michael Dougherty. Mm-hmm. It was based on, shockingly enough, Krampus from Austro-Bavarian folklore. Yeah, I never would have guessed.
Weird.
Next thing you know, you're going to say Santa Claus is based off of Saint Nick and Sinterklaas. Whatever. Anyway, so I mentioned Adam Scott. I mentioned Toni Collette. But also MJ Anthony. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Adam Scott plays Tom Engel, the father. Toni Collette plays Sarah Engel, the mother. MJ Anthony plays Max Engel, the son. Stefania Levy Owen plays Beth Engel, the older sister. Krista Stadler plays Omi, the German grandma.
Yep.
And one of my favorites in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Fucking David Koechner plays Howard. And he is one of those guys that does kind of play the same role in every movie.
Yeah.
He just dials up or dials down the douchiness depending on it. This one, he dials up just enough where you're like, fuck this guy. But later you're like, okay, I guess he's kind of cool. He's all right. One of my current favorites, Allison Tolman, who's Linda, who is Howard's wife. She's one of my favorites right now. All of a sudden, I watched her in Fargo, and I was like, I fell in love. I want to see more of her.
Great actress.
Also, one of my favorites, and I never remember that this is her first name, Conchata Ferrell as Aunt Dorothy. Mm-hmm. This one plays the same role in every movie. She's literally, like, I picture her as being this in real life, and that's it. And then she just, like, people call her and they say, hey, we need you for a part. And she's just like, okay, what do I got to do? And they're like, the same thing as always. Just do you. We'll see you at the shoot.
Every time I see her, it reminds me of my auntie Cher.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Luke Hawker is actually Krampus, which I was very impressed by the fact that they actually had an actual suit that they used for this, and it wasn't all just CGI.
Yeah.
There's more people, but I kind of just skipped them because there was a lot of the kids. I skipped all the kids because I was like, fuck it.
I wrote their character names down in case I want to reference them, but that was it.
Okay, good. But here's something that I thought was kind of interesting. The voices, Seth Green was Lumpy, which I couldn't tell you who was Lumpy, nor could I tell you who Clumpy was, but I could tell you he was voiced by Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame.
Really? I had no idea. I didn't even look at voices.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Who is Lumpy?
And finally, Brehan Burns is Dumpy.
Dumpy.
Couldn't tell you who that one was either. The budget, $15 million. The box office, $61.5 million. This is literally just over four times its budget.
Yeah.
Why the franchise didn't pick up after this blows my fucking mind.
I can't believe how amazing this movie looks for 15 mil. Yeah,
they definitely put a lot of money into the special effects, but they did a good job on, and this is like what I love to see. They do practical effects with really polished special effects.
Yeah.
So that both things work seamlessly together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First and foremost, I want to say, before we go any further, I love this movie. So I'm going to be gushing about this movie. It's going to be a lot of I love prefacing every single sentence that I have here. What about you, Ken?
Same, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Love this movie.
That's what I thought.
And you know what? Like, I thought it looked really cool. Adrian and I, this is one of the very, very few amount of movies that we watched while we lived in BC. We were stoked to watch this because Michael Dougherty is the writer-director of Trick or Treat, which you know is one of my favorite horror movies ever.
Yes.
He's also the co-writer of X-Men 2, which is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
I knew I recognized that name, and I was like, how do I know that name? And when I looked in his filmography and hit X-Men 2, I was like, oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. I didn't really care so much for Trick or Treat because I haven't seen that movie yet. But that is on my to-watch list.
Yeah.
But I definitely was like, okay, all right, this is really good. And plus, I love Toni Collette. I love Adam Scott.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine.
Toni Collette always blows my mind. I honestly believe she's the best actress in Hollywood today. 100%.
You know what? I'd have to agree. She's so 100%. Good.
What I saw her do here, like what she did here wasn't super impressive. It was good. But what I've seen her do in like Hereditary and United States of Terror, have you watched that show? She plays 4 different characters. It's mind blowing. It's so
my favorite part about Toni Collette though is her American accent is so good, you have no idea she's British.
Right. I always forget. It's
every single time.
One of those celebs where I don't remember they have an accent until I watch an interview and I'm thrown off by it. Like, why are they talking like that? Oh shit, yeah.
I've seen her do her normal accent in movies and went, wow, she's got a really good British accent. Like, that's a really good British. I'm impressed with her British accent. And then later I saw her in an interview and I was like, oh, it's because she's British.
Other way around, yeah.
Right. Okay. She's got a phenomenal American accent. But anyway, so yeah, first of all, the cast is awesome. I'm giving a super shout out to MJ, the guy that played Max.
Yeah, that kid is incredible.
MJ Anthony sold the movie for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially because right at the beginning, I immediately fell in love with the Home Alone / Gremlin vibe that this movie gives off. This is probably one of the reasons why I immediately love this movie so much, because like right away when, there's the fight at school, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like Home Alone. And then the family shows up and they all like suck Christmas spirit out of the whole house. And the kids like Max is just like, fuck, like, oh my God. And they find out that he wrote a letter to Santa and they're just tearing him to shreds. I was like, this is definitely like Home Alone in that sense that he's just like, I'm gonna wish that my parents were like, nobody was here and I would Christmas by myself. And then lo and behold, we have something very similar.
That shot of him just like ripping up his Santa letter, throwing it out the window, it blowing up, and then you see the clouds rolling in immediately. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I was like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And then the next morning, it's just everything's encased in ice, and it's this blizzard and everything. And then they start off perfectly with the creep factor by that lone snowman in the yard. I was just like, oh, yeah. Like immediately I was like, ooh, this is right. Like this feels like this is going to be good.
And snowman is built so it's facing the house, so it's like watching.
Exactly. So it's definitely not like, hey, here's my friendly neighborhood snowman greeting the neighbors. No, I'm watching this fucking house.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm watching this house for a certain somebody, and I thought it was awesome. And I loved how Omi kept doing these like knowing looks and stuff like that. And you're just like, okay, she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. I loved her relationship with Max as well. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. I actually liked the relationship with all the characters. They're all really well done.
Mm.
The special effects, getting back to the special effects, like, I mean, we'll probably come back and forth to special effects as we cover this.
We'll touch on that for sure going through, because, I mean, like, this is one of those movies where there is so many, like, the shots are a character themselves, because there are shots in this movie that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like,
so good.
They were so good, so good. I even love, like, continuity stuff where they're out in the blizzard looking for Beth, and by the time they come back, like they're literally got like snow and like icicles all over them. Mm-hmm. It didn't look like most movies where they're out in the winter and it's CGI snow and CGI wind. Their jackets open and they're like, oh, I'm cold. They look like they were fucking freezing, which I really liked.
I friggin' love that. I love that this movie feels like an old school on set type of film. Like,
yes, very much so.
There's no green screen. Like, this is all just like practical with, like you said, some visual stuff thrown in to like just mix it perfectly. But it's
I mean, like the windstorm stuff, that's CGI.
Yeah.
That's CGI. You could tell, but it was, like I said, it was just one of those where I was like, man, this is so good.
Yeah, I mean, like the clouds.
So good. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a horror comedy. Because it felt more like it was a suspenseful, sort of a black comedy with borderline horror elements. Like I felt, honestly, they could have went a little bit heavier, but at the same time, it's not like I'm disappointed that they didn't. Because for fuck's sakes, I was surprised that the first person that got killed was Beth.
Yeah.
I was super surprised. I actually thought it was going to be the family member, like the family-in-law, the in-laws, sorry. I thought they were going to get picked off because I assumed his wish was, I want everyone, like I want them to go away.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but just those specific people. So when Beth got it, and Beth was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, that really surprised me. She was showing like compassion towards her little brother and everything, you know, like she wasn't just some stuck up, snooty older sister.
Yeah, like this stereotypical twat, you know, she had a heart, she had some compassion. She was literally like, okay, look, we just got to get through this weekend. It's okay. It's fine. You know, but even the build up to her death was awesome because they had like Krampus, on a rooftop. And she just kind of happened to look over, and we look over, and then we see it.
And he's just crouched, and you just see that breath. Like,
yeah, and the horns. That's it. You saw breath and horns, and I was like, oh.
But she goes running, screaming, and he does that howl, and he's running the rooftops, and the camera's just following along with him.
Oh. I was like, this is so good. Like, this is so good. Fuck, man. I actually think, now that I say, like, because I know I was saying they could have went a little bit darker. I think if they did go a little bit too dark, the more comedic elements that happened throughout the movie, I don't think would have been as good of a tension breaker as they were.
Right.
Because, like, when we got to the part, and, I'll get back to that in a second, I literally remember going like, okay, all right, I can see it. And this is kind of where I argue the Gremlins aspect, because Gremlins was kind of the same thing. Yes. Suspenseful, some horror elements, but ultimately it was a suspenseful black comedy Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks that she got it first. She it's not even like she was a bitch, like you said. She was actually a pretty cool older sister. Yeah. She just happened to go out when she shouldn't have, because no one knew what the hell was going on, and then that was it. She was done. It was finished.
Simply walking through the snow to her boyfriend's house.
That's it. You know, although that's a rule in horror flicks: don't have sex.
Yeah, don't do it.
We don't know that she. Well, no, she couldn't have, because no one else. That's what another thing I liked was that whole town sectioned off.
Yeah, there
was nothing coming in, nothing coming out. That was it. It was over for them. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is crazy. One of my favorite actual sequences was the flashback when Ami starts telling the story of her experience with Krampus and how she brought him in. And they did that really, that cool, like stylized, almost stop motion style. Like
stop motion claymation type style, right? Like,
yeah, claymation, stop motion, shadow play. Like, I was like, this.
It kind of looked like those lake animation movies, like Coraline and everything. It had that kind of animation to it.
Exactly. And that floored me straight up. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
When they went to the flashback, I immediately was like, oh, like I sat up and was like, this right here. If everything else was just as good and they didn't have that, I still would have loved this movie.
Yeah.
But adding that just put it right over. I was like, oh, you guys got it. You guys got it. You do whatever you want. Whatever you want, I'm in. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. It'll be great. And that's exactly what it was. Like, my favorite part, this fucking Krampus winked at her.
Yeah.
And that effect looked awesome. Yeah. He was all shadowed out, and then it was just his eyes, and then it winked. I was like, that is so cool. That is so cool. But so good. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I know it's become one of those movies that I love more every time I see it.
Well, it's funny because the second I finished watching it, I was like, I have a new Christmas movie to watch every year now.
Yeah.
Because that's how good this is. Like, I'm literally like, okay. Because I haven't watched Gremlins yet, and I haven't watched Elf yet, or Die Hard.
All the usuals.
But don't worry. Don't worry. I'll get those.
You'll get
I'll get those.
You got a week to go, man.
Now it's like, oh, I got to get the Santa Claus in there as well. That's right. Yep. But only the first one. Santa Claus 2 and 3. Santa Claus 2 is all right.
Santa Claus 2 is all right. 3 is...
3 is rough.
That is rough.
3 is rough. Should not have been made.
That is not a good one. Nope.
Nope. I mean, the second one was very much in the spirit of the first. So, you know, it was good. I enjoyed it. But it doesn't hold that special spot in my heart like the first one does. Yeah. Third one is garbage. This movie, like I said, I'm amazed that this movie didn't springboard into just a nice little 3 or 4 movie franchise. Doesn't have to make it made 4 times its budget.
Yeah.
Like on a fucking weirdo Christmas horror flick. You know?
Michael Dougherty knows what he's friggin' doing, but I feel like he just wants to like try new things all the time. Like he's been talking about Trick or Treat 2 since the first one came out, and that's like over a decade old now, probably.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, he did the last Godzilla movie, and that kicked ass. Like he killed.
I still have to watch that all the way through, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see a Krampus too, 100%. I would love it.
Oh, God. Especially the way they ended it. But more importantly, especially because the way that Krampus was designed. Oh, my God. Oh. I was expecting this fucking, like, hooved, like, beastie, devil-looking thing with, like, the horns. I was definitely not expecting a gate-jawed Santa Claus that was like this the whole time.
All hunched over.
The hunched over part feeds into the beast stuff, but the face, like basically wearing a rubber Santa mask.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and almost like wordless. Like the howl was the only real noise that thing made.
Yeah, the howl.
That was it.
The laugh at the kid.
Oh, right. That's right. That. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, but that ending was crazy because like that ending was so good that it was building up to the point where, and I like, again, I had that Home Alone feeling where it's like, okay, Max is going to get in there. He's going to be like, look, I'm sorry. Like I made a mistake. I should never have done that. I'm so sorry. Just take me and bring him back. And I actually thought that they were going to do that. Right. Half a second, I was thinking, oh, they're probably going to do the Hollywood ending. And then, Max gets thrown into the pit. He wakes up and, oh, it was all just a dream. It was so great, right?
Dream.
Right? And so, like, he goes, take me. And Krampus is just like, grabs him. No, fuck you. Throws him in the pit. And I was like, okay, this kind of lines up. And he wakes up. And
were you thinking?
And I thought for sure. I thought for sure that this was it. Like this was going to be like, oh, it was just a dream. And Max learned his lesson not to lose his Christmas spirit. But the scene ran longer than 2 minutes. And I remember thinking like, oh, no. They didn't. And then you get a flash of one of them remembering something. Then you get another flash of someone else remembering something.
Yeah,
and they're like,
he opens, as soon as he looks at the ornament and the whole family looks at it.
And they start seeing the flashes. And then they're just like, oh, and they know that they're dead.
Yeah.
And then it pans back, snow globe. And I was like, oh, they were never getting out. They were never getting out.
Krampus collects families. You see all these houses.
If Max had never said anything, he would have ended up like his grandmother. He would have got out, but his family would have been in the snow globe.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they panned out and you see them in the snow globe, you're like, holy fuck. Then they pan out again, and then you see it's multiple families. I was like, oh boy. Wow. This was so, like, whoa, what an ending. That was great. Like, it was a fucking great movie. Like I said, I'm going to rewatch this every year now.
It's so good. I mean, like, it's not even just Krampus either. Like, all these elves look creepy.
Hold on. Stop. Krampus. You got to say it like Omi. Another part that surprised me was the gingerbread helpers.
Yeah, they were hilarious.
They were like just goofy enough, like the Gremlins at the end of the movie when there's so many of them.
Yeah.
If it was just Stripe, I would have been like, that's scary. But the rest of them, you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. But those ones, I was like, whoa. And like when they pulled the kid through the fucking chimney, I was just like, holy shit.
After
like,
he bites, takes a bite out of the one's head, and it's all like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. He's fucking pissed too. The Jack in the Box was creepy as hell, though. That was an excellent design.
Up in the attic?
Yeah.
That thing was creepy, how it was eating.
That was an excellent design, like snake-like and everything. I was like, oh, that was genius. Like,
actually, like all four of them up in that attic were like really good.
That's right. Yeah, the doll. Yeah, the doll with the weird tentacles and stuff.
The creepy flying doll thing. You got like the robot that was stabbing like Adam Scott.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Like all of that was so awesome.
The crazy bear with the big teeth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Crazy Bear was another one too. Like Jesus, they were all just fucking crazy, just crazy. So, needless to say, Geek Pantsers, if you haven't seen seminal classic Krampus, watch it for fuck's sakes, man.
It's amazing, 100%.
Although, we probably should have said it at the beginning. If you haven't seen it, watch it, and then come back and see this, because this is spoilerific. Spoilerific.
We actually kept it pretty good. You know, we basically said the ending. We said the ending, and then basically everyone died. But other than that...
Yeah, we also talked about how some of them died, too.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to reference another way some of them died, too. Like when they're getting to the snowplow, and then all of a sudden both parents get like pulled in.
Yeah.
Because Krampus is like swimming through, or not Krampus, but whatever the hell that thing was swimming through the snow.
Yeah.
It was swimming through the snow, and then it gets both of them. I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Let's talk quickly about his sled too, with like the big demon horses.
Yes.
And how like all the toys are on there, like all getting back on the sled, and the Jack in the Box like snake thing is all like, like, oh
God,
man.
Like just creepy enough, just like suspenseful enough, just a little scary, little bit of humor. Man, this is just like, I was floored by this movie. I wanted to see it when it came out, and then I didn't, and then I forgot all about it. So then when you mentioned it, I was like, yes, we're going to do this movie. And I was so pumped. And so thank you, Kenneth, for turning me on to not one, but two. That's right, spoiler alert. I also like rare exports. I will say I wanted to watch the 2 YouTube videos on this beforehand, but I didn't get a chance to.
There's two videos on rare exports?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, there's one for sure. Okay. But there's 2 short movies that this is ultimately based off of.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check this out.
The it's actually, I have it here. Actually, you know what? We'll cover that when we get into it.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So I did the lead in for Krampus. Why don't you do the lead in for this one?
The lead in for rare exports.
Not so much a lead in because we're doing all one big video, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. 10 years old. This movie is 2010. I actually watched this movie for 2 reasons. A, it was released through what the hell is its name? Oscilloscope or something?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, which one's the Beastie Boy that passed away?
Sorry, what?
The Beastie Boy passed away.
I can't recall.
Adam, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Adam Roach? Roach?
Yes. Nope, Roach.
Roach? This is his film company. Before he passed away, he created this film studio and went around the world and released movies that he loved that wouldn't get released otherwise. That's what he did. So that was cool. And then the other thing was Elijah Wood was bragging about this movie like crazy online.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that the Levitskys know Elijah Wood.
Yeah, well, one of them do.
Like this.
Elijah. So right away, this was like something I wanted to watch. It was Christmas. It had horror aspects, so I was right away interested. There's really not a lot like outside of slasher horror movies. There's not a lot of like fantastical like horror type Christmas movies.
Right.
Right.
No, there isn't. There isn't. Although I don't consider this a horror flick at all.
No. Again, horror aspects like suspenseful.
I'm actually leaning more towards in fact, what I have is black comedy, suspenseful action with horror elements. That's what I have.
I think I would call this a fantasy thriller.
I will accept that. I like that. I like that a lot.
But what I really like is that it's from Finland. It's a Finnish film, and I don't think I've ever seen a Finnish film.
I never have.
Shit tons of Norwegian movies, but I don't think I've ever seen anything from Finland. So that was.
This is the first for me that I can recall. This is the first for me. But I would have to say, if I watched a movie from Finland, I would remember.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean.
Okay, so you had said 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, September 24th. It was released at Fantastic Fest. Mm-hmm. It was later released in Finland, December 3rd of the same year. It was written by, good luck with these pronunciations, Jalmari Helander. It was directed by Jalmari Helander. Based on Rare Exports Incorporated, which is about 3 hunters, a marker, a sniper, and a tracker hunting Santa Claus in the same area that this movie is set in.
Okay.
And this was also that movie, which apparently you can find on YouTube. So like I said, I will watch it, and I recommend you do too. Okay. But it's the same guy. Jalmari does this one. Okay. He also does the next one, which is Rare Exports, the official safety instructions. He writes and directs both of them.
So he did a couple little shorts based in this world, and then he got the budget for a full length.
Yeah. He ends up meeting with one of the guys, and he said he wanted to do a full length movie based off of those. And so with Krampus, I knew what I was getting into because I had seen trailers.
Yeah.
But even knowing that this was supposed to be the best Krampus movie, I had no idea what I was getting into. Like, I knew that there was hunters, they were like hunting for something, and they come across something sinister. That's it. I came in completely blind, and I'm glad I did. But before we get any further, back to the pronunciations of these names, starring Oni Tomila, which is Pietari Kontio. He is the kid. He's the main star.
Yeah.
Jorma Tomila is Rauno Kontio, who is, I think I might got the last name wrong on Jorma.
Jorma? I wrote the same thing. Are they?
I don't think they're related, though. Anyway, Rauno Kontio, which is the dad.
Yeah.
Tommy Corpella, who is Imo, who I've referred to as the English friend because he speaks shitty English.
Yeah.
Rauno Juvonen, which is Piperinen. I kind of turned Finnish there on that one. I don't know why. Imari Järvenpää is Juso, the only other kid in the movie.
Yep.
Risto Salmi is the sheriff. Per Christian Ellefson. I don't know who that. I forgot to put the cast of that person.
But they're in there as some.
But they're in there. They're in that movie. Oh, you know what? That might have been. No, it couldn't have been the British guy. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. That's weird.
Yeah.
Because I made a point of writing down Peter Jacobi, which is Pietari's Santa Claus. I'm going to say Santa Claus for now.
Yeah.
We'll update the cast later on. But so the budget was 1,803 million.
Yeah.
1.8. And box office, it's another one, almost 4 times the budget, 4,015,000.
4 million.
And change.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, here's another movie where I'm going, why isn't, but I guess the way it ends, there doesn't really need to be a franchise, but there could be a sequel to this.
There could be.
I mean, it could be a prequel. Because the prequel idea would be pretty cool considering the premise of this.
I would even love to see a prequel comic book.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
so
I want to see what was in the ice.
Yeah. So again, right out of the gates, love this movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this movie. I know I said it a couple of times during the Krampus section, but yeah, this is one of my new favorite Christmas movies. It's so good. And I like that you're calling it a fantasy thriller. I think that encompasses this perfectly. I mean, I just love the way it starts. It starts with them literally fucking drilling and bombing this place, and they're like finding shavings. Like they're in the mountain. And this British guy is just like, keep drilling, and they're like, well, we found shavings, and he's like, yeah, because they buried something and we found it, and Pietari and Juso are watching, and it's so cute that Pietari's like, is Santa dead? Is he dead? Like, what's going on? And then of course Juice like, you believe in Santa and stuff like this. They got their like 80s punk rock hairdos, which is awesome. But I thought that was really cool. I loved how immediately we got to see this alternate history of Santa Claus. And I actually looked to see if there was actually any rooting in this at all, and there isn't. This is just something that they said for this movie. Santa Claus is gonna be basic. What?
I said, really? Like that's
yeah. Crazy. I did some digging. I looked for alternate,
and I was like, oh my god, is this like the actual history of Santa? Like, is Santa really like this?
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I actually did a little bit more digging to see that there's no alternate version of Santa Claus outside of this movie that has him being essentially a horned being who whips misbehaving children and burns them in a cauldron. But that entire sequence, the artwork in all those different books and stuff was so good.
Exactly.
So good. I was like, man, I can't get over this.
It was actually like looking at the art in that book that made me go, this would be a great comic.
Yeah, actually, I almost wish that they released the book because I would read that book, the real life history of Santa Claus.
I would too. They did it with the Babadook. They released his book. Like they should do
that. Yeah. Oh, Babadook. Duck. But yeah, like I also like how this movie, very much like Krampus, isn't fast-paced, but there's a steady pace to it. It is building constantly. And it, like both of these movies are they're just under 2 hours.
Yeah, they're an hour and a half roughly,
This one was hour 40, and I was like it's moving at a pace that I'm like, okay, all right, like I'm along for the ride, but I'm not like, and this is finished too. So this is subtitles, but at no point in time, like I'm a little bit more well versed with subtitles. No, you're pretty good now too, right?
Oh yeah, no, I watch a lot of movies.
Or are you not so good with subtitles?
No, I'm good with
I was gonna say, I remember it used to be an issue before,
it depends on the language. Some languages just go too quick for subtitles, where the subtitles are just flashing. You're like, I can't even keep up with this. Like,
but that's also
I'm reading it and I can't watch the screen.
That's the fault of the director. They should slow the speed, right? But this was perfectly done, where I never felt like I needed to rewind it to catch up or anything like that. I was like, okay, all right. Like you get the dad in there, and he's like a butcher. That's the introduction. But I got a kick out of how the kid Pietari falls asleep sitting up because he's reading up on Santa Claus.
Yeah.
His dad wakes him up with a snowball, and then just like, because of course, you're in Finland and you're basically in a city full of dudes. The kid strolls out in his underwear, and it cracked me up because he's got a thick sweater, skivvies, like trunk style, not trunk style, Speedo style undies, right? Yeah. Briefs, that's the word I'm looking for. Just strolls out in his sweater. He's got his, I can't remember his, Zuppo. Was that his?
Something like that, yeah. It's like a stuffed animal he pulls around on a leash like a real animal. Like,
but he's hugging him. He's in these giant boots. He's standing outside the slaughterhouse, and he's just like, Dad, I don't want to go in. Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And his dad's just like, you got to come on in. And the whole time I'm going like, you're freezing your nuts off. Just go in there. Just fucking go in there. But anyway, so he finally does, and of course I realized once you know it's a slaughterhouse, you're just like, oh, that would be exactly why he's like, I don't want to go in there.
Yeah.
You know? And like, oh man, it was just so from there, then we get into the reindeer slaughter scene. Like, holy fuck, so good. And then of course you get the one shot of the mountain again where the guy's just like, he's calling the British dude. He's like, no, you don't understand. It's alive.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, that's awesome. Yeah. Woohoo. Although I thought it was cool. Like he gives out the thing about like no swearing, no smoking, no drinking. And he's like, everyone follow this. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, cool.
And wasn't
cool,
there
cool.
something on there about armpits too? Like wash your armpits or something? Or
yeah, something like that too. And they're all just kind of like,
what?
Like deep drillers, high level grave robbers essentially, and it's like, yeah, they give a shit about hygiene.
Sure. I remember being so confused because I bought this movie knowing it was a Finnish film, and then as soon as it starts playing, everyone's talking English. I was like,
I know
it doesn't look dubbed. What's going on here?
I know. I was like, what is happening? And then of course they get into the actual village, you know, or even setting up the trap for the wolves. I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
there's a cool sequence because you show that Rauno is a pretty smart guy to figure out how to do all this stuff. And then, you know, that's it. Going to catch wolves to make sure that they can do their reindeer harvest and, you know, make $85,000 cash. Yeah. And when they see the slaughter of it and the hole in the fence, I thought like when Pietari's just like, oh God, that's our fault. And his buddy Yuso's like, shut your fucking mouth. Don't you fucking say a word. But Pietari's like, he feels so bad because he feels like it's his fault, their fault that all the reindeers are gone. So basically, the livelihood of the village is shot because where are you going to get $85,000 now, right?
Yeah.
That was like it really like kind of tugs at the heartstrings. Like for a Finnish film, for us Canadian people, it immediately brought me in, kept me in where I wanted to see where this movie was going to go. This movie also reminded me of Home Alone as well. Got heavy Home Alone vibes, but towards the end of the movie, and I'll explain why there too. But when we finally get to see the Santa Claus, definitely didn't see that coming. Definitely didn't see that version of Santa Claus coming when he falls in the pit.
All lanky and like
lanky, but that's actually based off of Sinterklaas, which is the Finnish version of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to discern, but that version may be one of the earliest versions of Santa Claus. But then again, Santa Claus predates like 15th century stuff. Like it's crazy. Like they were doing Santa Claus stuff like in King James's time. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But the visual of this tall, lanky, filthy fucker, you know?
Yeah.
And like essentially motionless. So when they bring the body back to the slaughterhouse, and Rauno is like, I'm fucked because A, you find out he wasn't supposed to make the trap in the first place.
Yeah, they're illegal.
And 2, he's essentially killed a guy. You know, and his buddy, Piperinen, is like, I can't really do much of any, like, I can't help you. And Rauno's just like, you're going to shut your mouth. He's like, yeah, I guess I'll shut my mouth. Right? And up until that point, it's just, you know, moving along. You know, you've got some hints that, you know, Santa Claus is watching Pietari because of the footprints. Yep. You know, and you can see, you know, it's the footprints because in one of the books, it shows the weird, small, tiny footprints that Santa Claus is supposed to make and stuff. And I was like, man, this is this is another one of those movies where I'm like, holy shit, this is really cool take. And they're about to start cutting them up, and then it just like forced back, and they're just like, did you see that? And then of course Pete Aaron is like, yeah.
Like holds his knife in front of his mouth. And he's like, he's breathing.
Yeah, and they're like, well, now what the fuck do we do, right? So naturally, what you do is you leave one guy there with gingerbread cookies, and then you take off. Just leave him with this thing that you thought was dead, which isn't dead. But it's a dude. It's an old dude, so can't be nothing wrong. I got such a huge kick when they come back. Because Pietari takes off. He's like, I'm fucking done. He's decked out in his armor. He's got his shotgun. He's like helmet and everything. He's like, I'm fucking done. Like, we got to get out of here. I got to get the cops involved. This is bullshit. And that's when I started seeing the Kevin McAllister vibes. You know, like when Kevin's fortifying his home for the first time, meeting the Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that. You know, and of course, Ranu's now going to round up his kid and go like, oh, yeah, you know, he's being a little bit of a smart ass here. And, you know, and of course.
I love it when Pietari looks out his window and could tell that someone was standing there watching him.
Yeah.
So then Ranu goes to throw some wood in the fireplace and the bear trap goes off. And at first you're like, what the hell was that?
I know. And then you take the log out and it's got the bear trap. You're like, oh, my God. He's like, I could have been fucking killed, you know? Yeah. But I also love the fact that, like, so Pietari's like, Dad, were you outside my window this morning? And he's like, I'm not answering such a stupid question. He's just like, well, could you answer the question? He fucking makes his dad go, no, I wasn't out your window. This is so dumb. And then the fucking bear trap happens, and I think everyone that watches the movie for the first time is just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I actually thought
there was something inside the fireplace.
I thought Santa Claus came through the chimney and was not going to kill them. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then it was like it was an excellent fake out with the bear trap. And he's just like, oh, you're grounded. And then, of course, Pietari's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to go get the sheriff. Fuck this shit. Right? So anyway, so we get back to them. He's fucking eating the gingerbread, and the Santa Claus is like, so he's like, oh, you like gingerbread? So he starts teasing this fucking dude, right? And loses his ear because of it.
Yeah.
He's waiting outside, and he's just like, yeah, don't go in there. It's like, what the fuck happened to you? The thing is weirder than it looks. He bit my ear. So don't go in there, okay? And then they go in there, of course.
Yeah.
And the one English-speaking dude, they start, like, beating the shit out of it. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is rough. Like, you guys are going to get so fucked up. That's the whole time I'm thinking, you guys are going to get so fucked up. For some reason, this thing's not fighting back. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, that's right. The guys go to the drilling area to get their money back. That's right. That's why they left.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. And then we find out that, like, everyone's been killed, and they're like, now what the fuck's going on, right? And then, okay, now we're up to speed. And so now they're like, well, we've got Santa Claus, so we're going to just ransom Santa Claus for $85,000. And then that's that. Called a British guy. Hey, I got Santa Claus. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, but
there's got to be more to this.
Before that, though, like, the three guys are in there looking at that Santa Claus, and he's hunched over, not moving or anything. And then Pietari walks in, and then he starts doing the sniff with his nose, like the cookies, and then he looks at the kid.
He was sniffing before that, too, because he was looking through the window.
Yeah, he was smelling
and I was like,
child.
Holy shit, Santa Claus smells kids? Like, this is crazy.
That's creepy.
It's true. Yeah, it's creepy when he does the look, too, and then he does the weird eyes. Yeah. I don't know how they did that effect, but that was really cool.
Effect over his eyes.
I was like, oh, man. And I actually thought we were going to get like a jump scare where it was just going to start coming and just ripping people apart and stuff. And then nothing happens. Although it was hilarious that even though they had him in a cage, they had Pietari basically in the back with Santa Claus in the cage.
It's just watching.
like, you can clearly see that this thing, or this dude like wants him or whatever, and he's weird about it too. This isn't like he's just like, that's fucking creepy weird. Then when they get to the British guy, and the British guy is just like, oh, that's not Santa Claus. That's one of his elves.
But he noticed it after the eyes, right? Like he's staring at him, and then he gets that glassy effect on his eyes, and then right away he's all like, smile. And he turns around and he's like, everyone just smile. Everything is good.
Yeah, everything's great. Don't swear.
And they're like, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, oh, this is one of his little helpers. And then you just see them all around them, just coming out of the bush. Like
that, definitely, like, so we had this slow burn, creepy effect with what we thought was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then when they flipped it and it was an elf, I was like, whoa. And then we saw a whole horde of the elves. It was like, Jesus Christ. That was crazy. And the filming for that must have been fun because these dudes were naked.
Yeah, they were naked.
just cock and balls flopping around. There was no... I was like, wow, okay, all right. Like, no shame at all.
Yeah.
Some of them, of course, didn't need to be ashamed. But, like, so the way they shot that was really cool, too. Like, that was where the special effects came into play because you could tell they weren't shooting in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
They weren't shooting at night.
Yeah.
This was all special effects. That's fine. It looked really good, really well done. I was just, like, at that point, I was like, holy fuck. So if those are the elves, then where's Santa?
And what
right?
Is like,
yeah, like how is Santa gonna look? How similar is he gonna look to any of those drawings that we saw, right? And and again, Pietari's just like the final door, the one door that's not open, right? Because he's up until this point, he's refusing to open 24 because Santa's gonna kill him, right?
Yeah.
And he's calling to find out all of his kids in the area are now missing. And there's those creepy straw dolls.
Yeah.
To replace them. Like when he goes to Juso's room and it's just this, I was like, oh my God, that's
creepy little doll.
That was unsettling.
At first I thought it was the actual kid. Like they were like.
That's what I thought at first too. I thought so too, but then I was, either way, that's unsettling. Like that is just rough, And then when they open up the door, we see all the sacks that were missing from Amo's potatoes, which was hilarious. He's like, well, they took all the sacks of potatoes, and the sheriff's just like, what the fuck? What is going on here? This is a weird, the stoves and radiators are being stolen.
Yeah.
And now we find out that the elves are trying to melt the ginormous Santa Claus. Like all you see is the horns. That's the one thing I actually have here that I would have loved to have seen the full form of Santa Claus.
Yeah, same here.
It's
kind of like, it's neat because your imagination can kind of play with it, what he looks like and everything. But it's also a huge bummer. Like obviously this movie's only 1.8 million
budget is 1.8.
It's got tiny.
And that's exactly why we didn't see Santa Claus. That's exactly why we didn't see him.
I mean, he would have been like wicked to see.
Oh my God. I watched the movie. When we got to that scene, I was like, whoa, I can't wait to see him. But the flip side is that I loved how, like, once they realized, like, when they started to think this was Santa, and then it was like, well, no, they're elves, they immediately start going with Pietari, and they're going, okay, what do we do? Now they believe it, they're in, and then they're like, what do we do? But I also love how they all treated Santa like the end boss, like this is the end of the world. This cannot, like he cannot be melted. So while it's disappointing that we didn't get to see his true form,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense within the movie that they're like, just blow the fucking thing to hell. Blow it to fucking hell. Let's just be done with this as quickly as possible. Make sure you get the horns first, though, because if we don't get the horns, we have no proof that we can. Like, I was like, what are you using the horns for? Why would you even do that? But okay, fine.
Yeah.
They're trophy hunters, I guess. Right? But yeah, I loved that they were literally like just wipe it out as quickly as possible. Because like an endgame threat is really what it was, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome. I loved that. Is it me or is like Pietari incredibly strong though? That whole sequence where because they round up all the kids in the sacks to get the elves into the reindeer pen. So to do that, it's a helicopter, a net with all the kids in this net, and Pietari just kind of one-handing it.
One arm, just like, yeah.
One hand, calling the shots, fucking rights, calling the shots, and they're doing like crazy swings and everything. And I was just like,
I was like, that kid would be like this, hanging on for his life.
Or he would fall off.
Yeah, just gone.
Like, it looked awesome. It looked super cool that he was one-handing it, and he's all like, yeah, Philippine, you're awesome. You know? The only thing that was kind of weird about this flick, though, is it really seemed like Pietari felt like his existence made his dad's life worse. Because even they had that conversation where he's like, if I was gone, would your life be better? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? And they
had a different relationship. And with the mother gone, I figured like maybe it was one of those deals where the mother died at birth, and maybe the father's always kind of had that blame over his kid.
I see. I never caught the blame. I never thought it was a blame thing. I did feel like, I don't feel like the mother died at birth. I do feel like the kid got to know his mom enough. I think what it was that the kid was a lot like his mother, and it constantly reminded his dad of what he lost.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he was resentful, but it's like constantly being reminded that you lost the love of your life, right? And of course he loves his son. He's a different man, and his son's a different kid. But even at the end where like Pietari's basically like, no, I have to do this. I have to sacrifice myself to save all of you. So fuck it. Let's go.
Let's do it.
And backflips. But at first I was like, are you kidding? He's going to land on the ground. But then he lands on the crane thing. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's all right. But then they get all the elves in there. He gets out. Like, I was like, yes.
I really thought that was cool too, because he was like ready to sacrifice himself. Like,
he was done. He was like, it's over. Tell my dad I love him. Whatever.
Let him know what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, tell him what I did. And I was like, and then they fucking kill Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Blow that fucker to smithereens.
And then
Pietari is rescued.
The elves immediately are just like, what do we do now?
But what do I learn how to do taxes? What the fuck do I do? Now, I will admit, I didn't quite understand the ending at first. Like when they start saying, well, how much is it for Santa Claus, right? Yeah. And they come up with like this astronomical number, like 16 million or something like that, 16.8 million. And I remember just being like, okay, but they're elves. Like, I don't understand. But then I start going, oh, so they're training the elves to be Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Okay, but I still didn't quite get it. When I did my extra research here, and of course they're saying they're essentially sending them around the world to be mall Santas. And then I was like, that's a really fucking sweet ending.
They create.
Okay, I understood. I understood that they were rehabilitating the elves, and the whole sequence was hilarious too. Like, that was a funny way to end the movie. But it was like, I was like, okay, they're training to be Santas, but like the guy that knew that it was Santa is dead. Like, who else is gonna buy them? And then when I was like, oh, it's mall Santas. Oh, I was like, that's so great. That's so great.
Yeah, it was a funny ending.
It was a funny ending for like I said, it was kind of a comedic movie. Like, it wasn't.
Oh yeah, it's it's a lot.
I like fantasy thriller. With comedic elements.
A lot more lighthearted than the other one. for sure.
Yeah,
Krampus.
it is a little bit more lighthearted than Krampus. That's good. Yeah, it's more fun to say it that way, though, right? Like I said Krampus a couple of times, but then when I saw the movie and she said Krampus, I was like, "Yep, that's how I'm going to say it from now on. I'm going to correct people. I'm going to correct people. If someone says Krampus, I'll be like, what? We're talking about your grandfather?
I'm just lazy and I go right to Krampus. Like,
are we talking about your grandfather? Because I saw the movie Krampus.
Krampus.
Actually, you know what? I will save it for so this movie, Krampus. Those shitty fucking bullshit straight to video ones, those are Krampus movies. Those are Krampus movies.
Those are just Krampuses.
Yeah, they're Krampus 1, 2, 5, pre-Krampus and post-Krampus. Fuck them all. Krampus, however, that's a classic.
That is a classic. So, would you agree with that order of movies that you saw? Would you put Rare Exports at number 1?
No, I wouldn't. I liked them both equally.
Okay.
See, because like even the small little things that I like I was saying about Krampus and this one, like they could have did this or could have done that, doesn't make them any less good movies. They're both really, really good. It's hard to compare them though, because even though this movie was like the top of the list for the Krampus movies, I wouldn't necessarily consider this a Krampus movie because this is literally just an alternate take on Santa Claus.
Yeah, not once is the word Krampus used, right?
Sorry?
They don't use the word Krampus once.
They don't say it once. They don't say it once. And for good reason, because it's Finnish, right? So they're going to go with their version of those characters. So, like Sinterklaas and Santa Claus, like that's, part of the Finnish culture. Whereas, in Austro-Bavaria, they have, Santa Claus, but they also have Krampus or Krampus, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really consider that part of the list. But also, I mean, which one do you think is better?
I think Krampus is better. I think it's better just because, for me, it has more replayability. Like, I'll watch that one more often than Rare Exports. Like, I watched Rare Exports when it came out, which, crazy enough, is 10 years ago already. It doesn't feel like 10 years, but it's been 10 years, apparently, since
it doesn't look 10 years either.
Yeah, so, like, but it's one of those movies, I don't think I could watch it every year.
Okay.
Whereas Krampus, I could definitely watch every year.
Well, I'll let you know next year if I end up rewatching it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like both of them are equally good on their own. Because some of the shots in Krampus were fucking incredible, but also some of the shots in Rare Exports was also fucking incredible. Like there was actually a bit of a Thing vibe for me.
Yes.
And partly because it's like, all male cast. It's, set in the winter, like, in the Arctic versus Finland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's those aspects, but even some of the shots kind of felt like it too. And I was like, oh, wow.
I wish we could have got a little more horror in Rare Exports. Like all the shots of the guys up on the mountain screaming and you just see their hard hats flying and everything. Like I wish we would have seen the that was one thing that I thought was kind of lacking. There was a lot of off camera kills. That was one thing I remember distinctly. So thank you for reminding me. Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh, we could have seen, it didn't have to be like a gore fest, but it could have been something, right? Whereas like, with Krampus, I like the idea that we didn't really know if the characters were dying or just being abducted.
Yes.
That was cool.
I thought, that's still though, it's hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'll let you know next year if I rewatch Rare Exports.
Well, like I said too, these are totally different movies. Like
that's the other part too. Like
little tiny things in common, and that's it. Like they are totally different.
Yeah, exactly. Like really, the only commonality is they're both kind of Christmas movies. Like Rare Exports, like they're both set during Christmas, and they're both dealing with a supernatural Christmas villain. That's it.
Yeah, that's about it.
I almost like part of me kind of wants to edge out Rare Exports only because of the crazy alternate take on Santa Claus, and they did it so well that it reminded me of the marketing for the Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
Because before the movie came out, they released like this hour-long like documentary about the Blair Witch Project that treated it like it was real. So I watched this and I was like an Unsolved Mysteries kid. So I watched that and I was like, whoa, like this witch in this forest kill these people, and this movie is about like what? And then of course you find out it's all fake. I was like, wow, that's some really good marketing.
Yeah.
Crazy good marketing.
Yeah.
So that part there, that whole aspect where they did such a good job of this alternate take of Santa Claus, I fucking Googled that shit. I went on Wikipedia and I was like, where is this part? Where's this version in the history books? Why haven't we heard about this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get from this to friggin' Coca-Cola St. Nick with polar bears? Like, how did we get there when this guy is like
20
pummeling,
feet tall with friggin'
like spanking asses till they're bloody, and then when he's done doing that, he boils them in fucking cauldron of water. You're like, never mind, he's actually a super nice guy and he gives out gifts every year. And the take on the elves is really cool too. Like just this mindless, like literally just grab the kids, take the kids to Santa. Grab the kids, take the kids to Santa.
Yeah, they were like this hive mind, right?
Exactly.
Very cool.
Very much like like zombies.
When they're chasing the helicopter, they're all like they're moving in unison, you know, like.
And that shot was awesome.
Yeah, it was really.
That shot was so good. So it's tough. It's tough. I'm gonna leave it at they're both equally awesome because I can't really pick one or the other. I just can't.
Yeah, no.
You can,
honestly.
That's fine.
Well, Rare Exports is friggin' incredible too. I actually gave both of these a 4.5 out of 5.
And that's where I'm at too. Not quite 5s.
Both of them have the same rating, and the only reason, like, it's going to depend on mood, right? It's going to really depend on mood, and
yeah, you know
obviously, edging it out a little is the subtitles. I'm not always going to feel like reading a movie late at night, you know.
Oh, you see, I when I watch TV at night, 9 times out of 10, the volume's down.
You do the subtitle, right?
And I do the subtitles, although I got so used to it that I don't even like register it. And Michelle is now like, she's like, you know, like I don't hear the TV, right? Like you could have the TV at a volume and you could hear it. I'm not going to hear it upstairs. And I'm like, I know you keep telling me this. I know. It's just that it's a part of the habit. So like lately I've been not doing it as much, but it's not as big a deal for me. But I can see, like, you're right though. Not every time you want to watch a movie, you're like okay, let's fucking read. Let's read some shit.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll put TV or movies on at night and as background noise, like because I'm also like editing or I'm doing or writing or I'm reading. Like I'm always multitasking, and I always got the TV as the second. I'll look up and I'll watch, and I'm listening to it. If it's subtitles, I can't do anything, right? I'm 100% on the movie.
That's right. No, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, both amazing films.
Oh, they're so good. Oh, I think the other part for Rare Exports though is I didn't know what to expect. Whereas with Krampus, I had a pretty good idea because I saw the trailer, so I was kind of like, I can kind of get a feel for this movie. But either way, like they're both really good. I have to agree. Depending on the mood, might edge one or the other out at that particular time.
Yeah, I was actually really happy when you said, "Can we do Rare Exports too?" I was like, "Holy shit, I haven't seen that in years." Yeah, hell yeah, let's do that because it's such a unique pick too for these Christmas Camcasts.
Well, and that's if it wasn't for that list, like sometimes Google listening to you helps out because Because if that never came up, I would have never checked that out, and I probably would have never watched the movie. And then when you're like, I haven't seen that since it came out, I was like, you know what? Maybe next time you start, like, you watch a movie and you think is really cool, just tell me. Just let me know, and then I'll see if I watch it, because
Let me know.
I could have watched this 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I never told you about it.
You know what? It was probably one of those ones you just watched. Well, you were in BC at the time, so by the time we talked,
I was here 10 years ago.
Oh wait, no, 10 years. Yeah, sorry, it was
first apartment.
It was Krampus. That's right, Krampus.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably just one of those ones where you watched it and then forgot about it.
Yeah, and it pretty much is that, because when you said it, I was like, oh, yes, I've not seen that in a long time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Geek Pantsers.
Yeah, hey, that's not bad. We didn't go off on a tangent till the very end.
This is we got all the tangent shit out of the way. This is our big, huge, massive Christmas special. So thank you so much for joining us. Watch Krampus, watch Rare Exports. Oh yeah, one last shot. Christmas sweater.
Amazing.
Again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
Some of you more than others. But I get it. I mean, I understand it's COVID and it's a weird time to be alive, and it's a weird time to be stuck in your house, and maybe you want to do other things, and maybe you don't want to talk about 40, 30, 50-year-old movies. I get it. I understand. We've got more new stuff coming.
Yep.
And, you know, again, as always, we can be seen on Facebook. We can be seen on Instagram. We can be seen on Twitter. We can be seen, obviously, on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You can hear us on SoundCloud. You can hear us on Google Podcasts. You can hear us on Apple Podcasts. And finally, you can find us on a website that's called geekpantsmedia.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, Chris, we are everywhere. We are everywhere.
Got them all. You nailed it.
I started the show with a promo. I thought I'd end with a good note. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah. Season's greetings.
Everything Chris is saying. Wish you a very healthy and safe holiday. And
oh God, especially safe. Like,
yeah,
I get it. You want to see your family members. I do. I understand it. I want to see mine too, but I also want them to live long and prosper, and I want to live long and prosper. Mm-hmm. Just fucking wear a mask. Be safe. Social distance. If you're going to see your family, barricade yourself in your house for 2 weeks. Just be safe and be cool, and don't buy into all the misinformation, the disinformation. Just listen to the people that have doctorates and degrees, you know, people that literally dedicate their whole life to this kind of stuff. Listen to those people. We're all geeks at heart. Channel your inner geek. Do you think Batman wouldn't wear a mask? Do you think John Wick wouldn't wear a mask? All of these people would wear a mask because it would ultimately help people. And that's what being a geek is all about, just being the best version of ourselves to help out everyone else.
We sure know that Tom Cruise would wear a mask.
Yeah, I forgot to put that on my list of things. I was so impressed. Now, granted, the audio does cut out where he starts to build them back up and starts to say nice things, but I love it. I love that he was like, fucking wear that mask. If you don't wear that mask, if I see that again, you're out. I mean,
yeah,
you're the reason why this industry is dying. Like, families are going hungry because of you. And he's right. Like,
yeah,
the movie industry is taking a massive hit.
I was just smiling at that audio clip. I was like, good for you, Tom. Good for you. Anyone saying, oh, he should say that nicer? Fuck that. This is serious. He's taking it seriously.
At the stage in the game where, like, now...
This could be the second or third time he's talked to these people already. You know? Like,
right. Not only that, like just in Ontario alone, we're seeing a depressing, huge uptick.
Yep.
Because, well, you know, like I said, like we're COVID crazy. You know, we've got COVID cabin fever. We're sick of COVID. Every single one of us is sick of COVID.
Oh,
There's not one person in this. I am sick of it. Kenneth's sick of it. My fucking dog is sick of it, even though he's out like a light now. But still, we're all sick of it. But the way that we get through this is by being as safe as we possibly can. Okay?
100%, man.
So thank you for listening to this mini rant. I want nothing but the best for all of you. Stay safe, and we love y'all.
And we will see you in 2021.
Laters on the Menjay.
Laters on the Menjay.